Hey guys, welcome back. So our third video in this series is called Important Information, and I'm actually going to combine this with the what to do when. So a couple of things that I want to talk about. Important information for you includes such things as the exam handouts. So don't forget that we have those exam handouts and that they are important to have with you when you take those exams and when you do your homework practice. So that's an important thing. The other thing is that you have your schedule. Okay. So make sure that you are adhering to everything that is in that schedule. One other thing I will tell you is that anything policy-wise that there is within these documents. So if you have any questions, comments, problems about that, let me know. There are a couple of introductory things that are listed in here. And if you come back to the intro, we talk about all kinds of things and things and things and things, there's a checklist for success. And that's what we're going to be talking about now. And that's sort of the important stuff and what to do when and, you know, all of that kind of thing. So let me get back to that in a student view so you can see what we're looking at. So this class does take time. There's a lot that needs to be done between watching the lectures, doing the practice, doing the labs, all of that stuff. It does take a lot of time, and that's why we have the time estimates that we have for this. That's why you need more time when you take a lab class, okay? I have recommendations for what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Whether you decide to do that or not is entirely up to you. This is designed on what worked for me, so all I'm trying to do is share with you what I have done in the past and what has worked for me, okay? Have a plan. Make a study plan, stick to the plan, do the work when you think you should be doing it, okay? So make sure that you're doing everything. Watch the lecture, use the PowerPoints to record information or to reference what's going on. Do the lab work, complete the practice materials, do your homework, all of that stuff, okay? I would recommend reading the text before you view the lecture for the material because then you have a chance to see it and look at it before we talk about it in the lecture, because unless you're there and you can tell me, hey, I need you to slow down, it's hard for me to do that. So I can't really gauge what you're understanding and what you're not. So incorporating it into the textbook first may help you to understand that. And I understand that you can watch the videos as many times as you want, but you may not get as much out of it if you don't look at that material beforehand, okay? Ask questions. So if you're watching a lecture and you don't understand something, stop. Look at the timestamp. Tell me, hey, I was watching this lecture at this time and I don't understand what you said. Can you walk me through this? Can you explain this to me? Because I'm happy to help you with that. That's what I would expect in class, is that you could do those kinds of things. So just because we're virtual doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to do that. Okay. If you run into anything, contact me via email or in office hours. My office hours between 10:30 to 11:30 Monday and Wednesday. I'm actually physically in the 700 building on the third floor, but I also have virtual office hours that I'll be doing at that time. Please let me know if you're coming to my virtual office hours. I used to just sit in the WebEx and wait for people to come, but I have found that to be highly unproductive because then I have to be aware of what's going on. So please let me know if you're going to come to one of those, if you're going to stop by. Just, send me an email and say, hey, I'm going to stop by, and I'll be happy to go into it. I just don't want to be sitting in that WebEx the whole time because I can't do other things if that's open. Okay. Like recording lectures for things. Do the in-class practice and the practice for each lecture. So the recommendation is that you're going to read the textbook, look at the PowerPoints, watch the lecture, do the in-class practice, then the practice. Now, your in-class practice is liberally stolen from things on the internet that are available. It's often homework that is designed for courses that are lower depth than what we do here. So intro courses, high school courses, that kind of thing, to help you to understand those concepts. What I'm expecting with my practice is that you're pulling those concepts together to be able to work with that material to higher level of understanding. So the in-class practice is a lower level, and then we're moving up in the practice that I've given you to be able to do that. So that's why I recommend that you do them in the order that you do them. Okay. do the lab work associated with the material. I would do the lab after I do all of my practice, because the lab is meant to show you, here's this idea, here's how we're going to see it and test it, and then we're going to draw conclusions from it. That's part of the scientific method. So we'll talk about the scientific method in just a couple of minutes. That's one of the things that's down here, but that's part of the scientific method is, okay, here's this idea, we have to test this idea. Did that make sense? So the lab is always asking you, here's data that goes with this. Did you learn anything from it? What can you apply now that you've seen this in action? It's a different level of understanding. So we're moving up in Bloom's taxonomy in terms of what we understand on the level at which we're doing so. Okay. So make sure that you do that. And remember, print out your notes. Take notes about what you calculated, how you calculated, why you did what you did. Use those notes when you take those post-lab assignments. Okay. Do your Alex homework for the material. If you try it and you don't understand, let me know. It is best to do the practice before you do the Alex. Don't have Alex be the way that you learn that. Okay. But let me know. It's perfectly, you do what you want, you do you in whatever order way you want. I would highly recommend doing the exam worksheets as if they were an exam. Sit down, use your exam handouts. Can I answer this? Can I not? Without the answers in front of you. Because if you can't, then you won't be able to answer the questions on the test. Okay, because they may be exactly that question. So if you don't understand, start asking, why don't I understand this? What is it I don't understand about this? Now you can look at the answers. That's why the answers are there, is to say, okay, here's what I did and here's why I did it and all the rest of that. It's not that you can't look at them, but you need to know what you know before you go into a test. So it's meant to be a practice test. Okay. After the exams, review the material that you did and did not do well on. So you're going to get an answer, like an exam key, right? Now, online tests, there is an answer key that's used to pre-grade them. It's not always complete when I release the exam. So you may not see the exact right answer there. There also may be something that I, did the exam key and I did it really fast. I made a mistake when I first set up the answer key, but I found it when I was going through it and I took the exam myself and found a mistake. And so the answer key that I post will have the correct answers in it. Okay. So make sure that you're looking at that and then looking at what you did, and you can compare the two. Now you will need to use the Respondus Lockdown browser to be able to review that test. It's to prevent you from printing it. Okay. I don't want these wandering about. Not that I use them more than once. It's just we don't need to do that. So that's how you have to go back into the Lockdown browser to be able to look at that, right? After the exams, review what you did and didn't do well. If you still don't understand something, let me know. I may contact you after exams to say, hey, you didn't do so well. Can we talk about this? That kind of thing. The other thing, these are not directly related to any of the things that we talk about. But they're general things that I have learned in moving through learning these things. We have an expectation that you know how to work with significant figures and rounding and things like that. And so there's a review of sig figs and a lecture where I walk through that material for both of those so that you can learn, if you don't remember, you can review yourself how that works. Okay. I talk about problem solving, how I approach problem solving and what I do. I'm very systematic in the way that I approach my questions, the way that I set them up, because it helps me to solve them. Setting up that process, doing it the same way every time. If I set things up, it gets my head working. It gets me headed in the right direction, and it helps me to solve that problem. So that's why I do what I do. I'll talk a bit about the scientific method because it is my expectation that you are working with the scientific method when we're doing especially the experiments. So make sure that you've reviewed what the scientific method is and why we're using it. Okay. The last thing that's here is test taking. And I will talk a little bit about how, this talks about how to approach a test, what I think are good strategies for doing so. Take a look when you get into a test. How many questions are there? How much time do you have? Therefore, what kind of time can I spend on each question? What are things, if I look at all of the questions and I know that the majority of the points are going to come from the fill in the blank stuff that's at the end, then maybe I should start with that stuff. What do I know how to do immediately so I can knock it out and get rid of it and get as many points as I can? So they're general test taking strategies. These are things that I've learned from teaching for things like the Princeton Review and Kaplan. I've taught for both of them for test taking. And so this is something that I'm hoping to pass to you to help you with how do I do this. Now, I will tell you, this is really important when you get to the final. The final was written and is designed to be longer than the time you have available. So it's meant to force you to show what you know and what you don't. So to get you to pick the things you know really well and the things and push off the things that you don't. This is a way for us to gauge what you did learn and what you didn't. Okay, it's a way to do it. I don't necessarily agree with that philosophy, but I'll just leave it at that. But that is how that works. And so it's important to understand how you can maximize the time that you have by learning some test taking techniques. And these will be useful to you in any class that you take. So those are things that are listed there. They're available in the content under the course documents. So you'll see them there as well. Okay, so that's what to do when and in what order you should do things and some recommendations that I have for you for important stuff. And hopefully all of that is helpful. One other thing I will tell you is that if you come into the main shell and you look down here at the bottom, you will see user links, 8,000 of them. Okay, these are in addition to what we talk about, but they're little videos and things about how to do some of the things that we have to do. Much as I would love to think that I can explain everything to everyone, I know that that is not the case. So these are some curated links for what we think could be helpful to you to help you learn some of these topics. Okay, so that's everything I've got. Hopefully that is everything you need, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys.